Now look guys, I made my tier list yesterday and I ruffled some feathers with some of the placements. Admittedly, I think there are some placements that are definitely a little out. I think the Arbok Wheezing deck is really good, having played it a bit more. I sort of need to rearrange that. However, one of the ones that drove a lot of discussion, and even myself was questioning whether it was in the right position or not, was the Articuno X 18 trainer deck. If you haven't seen this deck, it is basically 2 copies of Articuno EX. I know you guys have also been saying it's not Excoundrel, it's EX, but I like saying X because I'm lazy and also my name's Excoundrel. I don't know why. I'm just so used to saying Excoundrel, so I just say X. Anyway. It's 18 trainers plus Articuno EX. Understandably, a lot of people saying, "Hey, tournament results been really good for this deck. You know, it's better than you're currently playing it." So, what I did is you're gonna see what you're gonna see in this video is me basically playing this deck for about 50 minutes straight. Okay. There isn't much that you can do wrong with this deck, right? You play Articuno, you hope that you get Misty, you hope that you flip heads, and then you just start spamming Blizzard. That's basically the extent of this deck. Yes, there is some decisions around hand scope and red card. Yes, there are some decisions about whether you stack your benched Articuno or not if you have your benched Articuno. But the reality is there isn't much in the way of sort of individual Pokemon decision making because that you've got 2 Pokemon to work with, right? What you're gonna see is 50 minutes of an old man raging at Misty, and I think what this video has cemented for me is that I don't think this deck is that good. I think genuinely, and I'm happy to die on this hill. I think that when you look at it and it gets good results in tournaments, and I have to be objective, right? Just because I had bad luck playing this deck for 50 minutes, you know, over the course of the next 50 minutes, does not mean that the deck is always going to give you bad luck. There's sometimes you're always going to get good luck. I just hate decks that objectively rely on coin flips to be good. And I understand that's a lot of Pokemon. You know, a lot of Pokemon have that. And a lot of Pokemon have that in terms of tied to their damage. But there are decks out there that don't. Articuno, whilst the damage isn't necessarily tied to a coin flip, it sure as hell is from a Misty perspective. And I think Misty related decks have got to be the most frustrating decks to play against and the most frustrating decks to play. It's one of those cards that sucks to play against and sucks to play. No one likes that card unless you're winning with it. And then even then, it's only like 25% of the time someone's enjoying playing that card. So, at the end of the day, I don't feel like this deck. I feel like this is a Misty deck. I feel like this is a Misty deck and there are other Misty decks out there. And I feel like you could play Star You and Starmie and still run Misty and this deck would still be the same. It would still be good. That's my genuine take on this deck. I don't think it's as good as just playing Star You Starmie. And I think it's a little bit too RNG reliant on flipping Misty. However, there is the merit of you can roll a Misty, get 3 heads, first turn 80 damage, and you've instantly won the game. There aren't many other decks that can win turn 1 because the opponent has 1 basic Pokemon out and you one-shot it. Like, there aren't many other decks that do that. So there is definitely a huge upside here. But if you flip Tails on Misty, like you're gonna see me flip a lot of fucking Tails. If you flip a Tails on Misty, you're just sat there doing nothing for 2 turns, and then even then you're then just sort of slapping them for 40 damage, which there are plenty of basic non-EX Pokemon that can do that for 1 energy and start doing it sooner. So yeah, look, there's my take on the deck. Sue me. Now go and watch me, old man, boomer rage at playing this deck for 50 minutes, and ultimately, I might go and see it in a tournament and think, actually, fair enough. Or I might play it again tomorrow and say, hey, I've just flipped heads on Misty 15 times in a row. Great. That's my thoughts on this deck. Kill me. So in the Pokemon TCG, if you don't draw an opening hand with a basic Pokemon, you can choose to mulligan your hand, which basically means shuffle it back into your deck and draw new cards until you get a basic Pokemon or whatever. You can essentially choose to do that, and you have to reveal your hand, shuffle it back in, and draw the same amount. For every time you do that, your opponent can draw 1 extra card. So it comes at a cost. I mean, you guys know that it's quite difficult to draw cards, especially in Pokemon Pocket. In Pokemon Pocket, however, you will always get a basic Pokemon in your opening hand. Articuno X is counted as a basic Pokemon. So therefore, you're guaranteed to get it in your opening hand. You're guaranteed to get a powerful X Pokemon on the board first turn. And if you have Misty, you can sometimes start getting Blizzard out on the very next turn as well. So looking at this this Pokemon, why is Articuno the choice here? Well, there's a few reasons that. Articuno in its own right is a strong EX Pokemon. Ice Wing for 2 energy, and it's going to be 40 damage. Not quite as good as Psysphere from Mewtwo, but whatever, you know, like it's 40 damage. Then it's a 3 energy Blizzard, which does 10 damage to each of your opponent's benched Pokemon. If your opponent is running some pretty weak benched Pokemon, it's going to start putting them down to lower amounts of HP as well. And with Misty, this can basically get going ASAP. You then have a load of utility cards to be super annoying, and yeah, in general, just a super strong deck in that way. So it can be a bit slow, and what I would say is, like, sometimes you may struggle with this deck versus the things like Mewtwo if they're able to ramp up pretty quickly and start essentially weathering the storm of the Blizzard, no pun intended. And then get Side Drive online, and then you're just going to get one shot, and then you're going to bring your Articuno in next, and you're going to get one shot. You know, that is something that can happen here. But this can be pretty quick paced. It can put a lot of pressure on, and in general is a pretty solid deck, especially from a tournament perspective. It has been doing quite well. So I've been convinced. I'm going to go give it a go and see how we do. I did that thing where I queued up with the wrong deck again. I had to shame concede within the first 5 seconds of the duel. Happens all the time. I just accidentally queue up with the wrong deck. Anyway, we're going first. Not a great thing. I prefer to go second, especially with decks like this. But we've got a Misty, so we can probably just Misty like straight away. Okay, so he's playing a Venusaur deck. Let's hope that we get a good Misty. There's another Articuno. Don't need to play it. Well, there's no reason not to play it other than if he's got some sort of bench damage, but whatever. I'm going to play Misty rather than Professor's Research, because really all I'd be looking for is a Misty. So, bugger off. And I bricked. That's a Pokeball to get nothing. Beautiful, beautiful. And herein lies one of the problems with this deck. Sometimes you can just brick Misty and it feels like you've got nothing to do. Let's hope he bricks his evolution. Is there going to be a Lilligant? Is he going to try and play Lilligant? I think one of the things that with this deck is if you're running the Venusaur variant of this deck and you haven't got Lilligant out. Oh, it's the Venusaur Executor deck. Okay. Please let me get another Misty. Please let me get another Misty. Bulbasaur is actually a pretty banger. Basic Pokemon. 70 HP, 40 damage, but it is 2 energy. Sabrina. I might as well look at his hand. Ivysaur, Potion, X Speed. Okay, that's not worth red carding. He doesn't have Executor X, he doesn't have Venusaur. He could get Executor X though, and he could just slap me for 80 damage, and I'm slowly working up towards... Yeah, okay, so he's going to retreat. He's going to drop in Execute. I imagine he maybe just drew Executor X. Yeah, he did. This is my problem. I'm going to get outpaced here because my Misty fumbled. Fine, 40 damage. I'm not within one-shot range, that's for sure. There's no point red carding that. I don't need to potion for the time being. I will just Ice Wing though. It's one of the problems with this deck. It's one of the problems with this deck. You can just brick real hard in terms of... I haven't got great cards here. Why is he... I suppose he's maybe looking to potentially retreat it eventually. There's the Venusaur. Okay, so he's looking to retreat it for the Venusaur at some point. Yeah, fine, he's doing 40 damage again. There's no point potioning this guy because I'm not going to get above 80 HP. So at this point, I'm just going to say, I might even Sabrina, honestly. Okay, well, all he'll do is he'll put the Execute in. Actually, do I care about killing the Execute? Probably not, right? Fine. Just gotta hope he rolls a Tails again. And then I've got to hope that I Misty. I've got to hope that I get a good Misty. Again, also going first doesn't help. You're just slower to put energy down. He's building up towards a Venusaur. Please get a Tails. He's had a lot of Tails. He's due a Heads. Oh, I'm doomed. See, this is the kind of game that I had where I really just felt like this deck sucked. Come on, like I'm bricking all of my card draw as well. And you know what? I mean, this is almost certainly concede territory. I mean, I've got no energy, no Misties. It's not fun. Right, do you know what? Keeping that game in there just to show you the downsides of this deck. If you brick Misty especially, like it can feel really, really slow. And if you're going up against someone that has... Well, I mean, look, he got the evolutions that he needed, and he was able to, even though he bricked a couple of Executor hits, he still had all the right Pokemon out. So, like, at the end of the day, I wouldn't say that he 100% bricked, but you can just see the downsides of this deck. It definitely has, when it hits, it can hit real hard. But, yeah, for that game, that was a perfect example of why this deck can suck, especially when you go first. We've got Misty this time round. Let's see if we brick Misty this time round. Eevee. I've not seen an Eevee deck before. Right. Let's not brick Misty. Let's get 3 energy on my Articuno pretty much straight away, please. Fuck off! Great. I should go red card him. Why not? I've got all of these. Got all of these wonderful, wonderful utility cards. I might as well use them. Ideally, you want a hand scope and see if it's worth red carding. Obviously, for most decks, you would never include hand scope because it's a 2-card combo that takes up 2 slots in your deck to do something that isn't always going to be useful. But in this deck, you might as well. But obviously, it's more about just pulling the right cards. Oh, he's building up his Articuno. This is the problem we're going. This is the problem we're going first. Oh, I'm so tilted. 2 Misties that we bricked in a row. Okay, let's see how we're doing with Professor's research. Giovanni, red card. Fine. Honestly, guys, it's honestly quite painful when you don't get a Misty. When you brick your Misty, this deck feels rubbish. Like you're just slowly building up energy. You have nothing to really tank for your Articuno other than another Articuno, which I'll obviously get here, but I've already started putting energy on my Articuno, so I can't just suddenly start switching over to someone else. He's probably going to X speed and then just be the first to hit me with a Blizzard, and if he's the first to hit me with a Blizzard, then not great. Do you know what I should have done there? I should have used Giovanni there, so that when he switches it to his bench, I could have killed the Eevee. Don't think it's going to matter in the long run, but if I'd got him to 10 HP on the Eevee, could have Blizzarded it. I'm expecting an X speed, and then he's going to drop his Articuno in and deal 80 damage to my head. Oh, that's a nice looking Articuno card. Yeah, there we go. And he's about to Blizzard me. Now I think it could matter, because if I Blizzarded and then killed the Eevee, there's a Giovanni. Well, this guy's dead next turn, so I may as well just Giovanni. Obviously, Giovanni doesn't affect anything outside of your primary damage. And this means that if he potions twice, I have another Giovanni and can still do something. So he potions... Oh, he's potioning his Eevee. Interesting. I really want to draw a Misty and then just get straight. He's potioning now his Eevee again. He doesn't want his Eevee to go down. Yeah, I guess he's worried about getting blizzarded, and then his Eevee goes down at the same time as his Articuno, which I think is a sensible decision. Please give me a Misty. Hand scope. I mean, I might as well look at his hand. Giovanni and Eevee. I mean, he's just gonna... There is no point in me using Sabrina at this point in time. I can maybe use Sabrina next turn with Giovanni to kill the Eevee. But I'm screwed because I went second and I yeah, there's Misty. He's not going to flub his Misty. I'm certain of it. Yeah. Of course, he's now got Blizzard on his second Articuno. Could even just switch that Articuno in if he really wanted to. Yeah, he is. He's practically running the same deck as me. He's just running an Eevee. For whatever reason. Yeah, I think I'm unfortunately kind of screwed here. There's Misty, but I can't use it. It's... yeah. People genuinely tell me that this deck is good, but... and it seems to do well in tournaments, but that just happens all the time for me. If you flub your Misty, you're just sat there, shamefully putting energy on your Articuno. Unless you open it with 2 Articunos and you put some energy on the Articuno on your bench. But if you don't open up with 2 Articunos, you can't do that. You've just got to put energy on your existing Articuno. At least I'm going second this time round. Okay. Are we going to flub our Misty this time? Should we give it a go? We've got to wait for them to go first. This guy is playing... a Ditto. Interesting. What is going on? I'm just going to Misty. Will we... Do you see why I rated this deck low now? This happens to me every game. You have unironically just seen me get 3 flubbed Misties in a row. That's why I just feel like this... I mean, I'm not even playing versus a good... If I win this deck, I don't even feel like I'm going to have played versus a good deck. I'm now going to get Weezinged. I'm now going to get Weezinged and poisoned next turn. And I won't be able to easily get out of it. Pokeball. Pokeball. Well, at least I can get my other Articuno out. I want to see what he's got in his hand. So... he has got Pidgeotto, Pidgeot, Haunter. What on earth is this deck? Why has he got like 1 billion evolution lines? And this is why I won't even feel good beating this guy. If I win, it's because this guy's deck is something else. He top decked that. He's gonna poison me, so the only way that I can get out of that is by withdrawing my Pokemon. However, I am going to start blizzarding. He's going to Sabrina me. Okay. Well, he poisoned me, and it did no damage, because he Sabrina'd me. I'm just going to put that on there for the time being. And then maybe I get an X speed next turn and I can withdraw my Articuno. Fine, he's going to poison my Articuno with nothing on it. Let's hope I get an X speed. Got another Giovanni. That's absolutely useless. Whatever. This Articuno, I'm not bothered about. I think if he gets an Alakazam, though, it can one-shot my Articuno. So I've got to be a little careful. He's got a Pidgey, he's got a Pidgeot Oto, and he's got a Pidgeot. So. X speed. Misty. Alright, am I going to flub Misty for the 50th time in a row? Let's find out. Yes! Come on! You fucking joking me? Do you guys see why I hate this deck? Do you guys see why I hate this deck? I hate this deck because of stuff like that. I failed 4 Misties in a row. This deck feels hilariously underwhelming if you don't get your Misties. I know he's got a Pidgeot. I know he's got a Pidgeot. I don't even know what he's going to do. He's just going to keep switching. He's just going to keep switching my Articunos in and out for each other. Which won't be too bad because I'll have energy on them. But I won't. Because there he is. Whatever. I'm going to do that. And I'm going to just... I don't think there's anything else that I want to do here. Yeah, actually, do you know what? There is. I'm gonna one-shot something else. Probably his Ditto, I assume. Okay, he's going to let me one-shot his Pidgeotto. Okay, so now he can't level up his Pidgeot. I actually don't know what this deck is. It looks like it barely uses any supporting Pokemon. Weezing's coming back in. The poison's starting to tick down. Again, don't really feel like there was much fun in beating this guy because he's not running. He's running a Alakazam, Ditto, Weezing, Coughing, Haunter, Pidgeot deck, which is just mental. I'm going to oh yeah, I'm actually just going to do this. I'm not going to put any more energy on my Articunos because he's got a Alakazam, and the more energy that I have on, even if I'm not using it, the more damage I'm going to take. So right now his Alakazam's going to do 60 plus 90, which is 150, which will one-shot me. So he could upgrade to Alakazam and hit me here. He will die next turn. Potion. Okay, that's still going to get one-shot by Blizzard. Actually, if he actually drops Alakazam here, he doesn't do it. If he had Alakazam here, he probably wins. I actually, luckily, would have drawn Sabrina and won anyway, but either way. That doesn't feel like a real win to me, personally. I flubbed both Misties, but I only won because his deck was Alakazam, Gengar, Pidgeot, Ditto, who fucking knows what. Let's go again. I'm going to send a thanks because it was a fun deck to queue into. Okay. Let's keep going. I'm going first, which is never a good thing. Okay, so I've got 2 Misties in hand, right? Going first can be good if you don't flub your Misty. Okay, so he's running Lilligan Venusaur deck. Fair enough. I'm going to run Pokeball. I'm going to draw another Articuno, because why not? There's no way that he can affect it with this deck on the bench, so I might as well. And we are going to Misty. Misty? Yes, heads! Tails. Fine, it's 1 energy. I'm 1 energy up, which means I can attack next turn, and I'll be able to Blizzard relatively quickly. I may even Misty again on Articuno, to be honest with you. So I may even Misty again on Articuno. Because if I could start Blizzarding. He's actually filling his bench up. I don't think there's any real reason to do this versus an Articuno. I understand having 1 Bulbasaur out, but I don't really see the need to do this. I suppose it does save him versus a Sabrina. So actually, when now I have drawn a Sabrina, I'm now thinking about it. That's good. That's good. Fine. I now have all the energy for Blizzard. I did not flub, but I also got quite lucky in the fact that I did draw 2 Misties in my opening hand. So I've almost been on the other end of the luck scale here. Didn't quite get the maximum luck, which is like the Misty 3 coin flip. I assume he probably just concedes from this point. I do think there is nothing exciting about playing against a Misty. I feel like Misty is one of the least exciting trainer cards in the entire game. The AI is now playing for him because it's waiting for the opponent to return. And I get it. I would quit too. I have regularly closed down the app when I've seen a Misty throw 3 heads on the first turn, and suddenly I've got an opponent slamming a 3 energy attack at me on the first turn when I've got a fucking Weedle on the field. I get it. It is a frustrating trainer to play against. I get it, man. Do have to wait a whole minute for this person to come back, though. So in the meantime, I'm going to sleep. Have I got a fun story that I can tell you guys? Any fun stories? One time, I was casting the Vainglory World Finals in Singapore. And after the event, everyone was like, hey, let's go out, into Singapore. Your opponent did not return in the allotted time. Oh, well, do you know what? We can't complete the story. I'll save that story for another day. It might not be PG-13 enough for this video. Okay. I'm going to send thanks to make him feel better about the fact that he went against an Articuno that just rolled a Misty and actually didn't flub the Misty. Kind of flubbed the Misty, but didn't completely flub the Misty. That's what I don't like about kind of Misty reliant decks, though. It is a 50-50 as to whether Misty's going to do anything for you. Okay, so where are we going? I'm going first again, unless I get a Misty. That's never a great thing. We've got Articuno, we've got Professor's Research, Handscope, and Red Card. However, to be honest with you, Clefairy. So I'm going to use a Handscope here. I'm going to have a look what they've got. This guy's got nothing good, so I'm not going to red card that. Potion, Pokeball. The reason I'm, obviously we'll use a Pokeball. Few reasons for it. There's not really another reason to get an Articuno X down unless we feel like there's a genuine threat that's going to come out and start punishing my Articuno that I want to tank. But it does thin out the deck, so it doesn't mean that I just naturally draw into an Articuno. So you should always use Pokeball whenever you've got it, because it just thins out your deck. You want your natural draws to be as high value as possible. So if you can reduce the likelihood of them being low value by getting a Pokeball draw, always a good thing. Here we go. Has he got the Misty Juice today? Does not. Does not have the Misty Juice. And this is where we proceed to lose the game. I'm going to handscape again. Let's see if he's drawing anything good. He has got Kadabra. Again, it's a deck that looks like absolute garbage. Depending on if he doesn't play anything this turn, I may handscape him. Okay, so he hasn't got another basic Pokemon. I know what he's got in hand though, so if he puts down... Oh, bloody hell, really? He's hoping for another basic Pokemon, otherwise he just straight up loses the game. So, if he plays a... Conceded. That doesn't count as a win! It does not count as a win. The man drew 0 basic Pokemon. I have absolutely no idea what his deck was either. This is why I think some people rate... I will say I do think some people rate this deck too highly based on tournament results, because I think you can genuinely just get lucky in a tournament and it makes the deck look really good. It's different to saying the Arcanine deck is good or the Arbok Weezing deck is good, because they're skill reliant and not so RNG reliant, in my opinion. Whereas, actually, between us, I think the Arcanine deck does use some element of RNG. I think it uses Moltres X to generate energy for it. But with this deck, it's just like, yeah, you could go into a tournament and every single round you could flip a 1, 2, or 3 Misty first turn, and it's just a little different. Like for me, I had like those 3 games in a row where I got 0 Misties. I think I've had 2 Misties out of the entire time that I've been doing this video that have actually hit. Again, another flubbed Misty. Like you could do exactly the opposite in a tournament, and it makes this deck look really good. And that's my problem with putting this deck super high. And that's my rationale as to why I don't think this deck is that good. Because I think in a tournament, you could just have round after round after round where you get the opposite luck to me from this video, where you roll heads on Misty, and this deck suddenly looks like it's absolutely busted. But when you don't get a Misty, you're just left there going K. Like now I'm going to start stacking my Articuno that isn't tanking, because there's no point not to. I'm going to use Professor's Research here. Research, handscape. I'm going to have a look at what's in his hand. He's got Misty, Frostmoth, Wartortle. Okay, so I know if he plays a Squirtle or he's going to get a Frostmoth out, and he's going to start putting my Articuno to sleep, which is fair enough. I actually think a handscape is a slightly underrated card. So he's going to get a Frostmoth out now. He's going to start putting me to sleep after every... like turn after turn. Don't really mind, because obviously I'm not really stacking this Articuno. Fine, he wakes up, but, you know, not going to do anything with it. Pokeball does nothing for me, but you might as well use it to just ensure your hand size doesn't get to 10. Handscape again. Fine, I'm going to stack this. Okay, so he's got a Wartortle, so if he plays Squirtle, I might consider, if I get a red carding him. But I've got another handscape, so I can obviously have a look at this. Okay, so I'm asleep, but I don't care if this guy wakes up or not. If he dies, he dies. Like, there's red card. Okay, so should we have a handscape? Seeking, Misty, Wartortle. Yeah, it's fine. I wake up, but I'm just going to get put to sleep again next turn. The only problem with this is that, unfortunately, he is buying himself turns to get something good. Let's see what he does. He plays Pokeball, which means he could draw a Squirtle. If he draws a Squirtle, I'm just going to red card him. Oh, Lapras? Is he going to just Misty? He probably should just Misty the Lapras this turn. Yeah. Please roll a tails, thank God. It's not just me that's completely flubbing my Misties. Fine. If I wake up here, I might, yeah, okay. If I wake up here, I might actually retreat and get Giovanni and just one-shot his thing. I don't even need to use Misty. I'm going to use X speed. I'm going to retreat. I'm going to use Giovanni. And I am going to Blizzard. I could have used red card here to shuffle his Misty back into his deck, which could have been a good thing. Could have been a good thing. He will actually think that might have been the play. I should have shuffled the Misty back into his deck. He was obviously going to use it this turn. Let's just hope he flubs it. Didn't flub it. Literally got all of the energy. He's now going to bubble beam me. And I am probably fucked. Okay. So here's the plan. We are going to Misty my Articuno over here. Nice. We are going to do this. We are going to retreat. We are going to potion. We're going to potion. I'd love to have a Sabrina here. And then we're going to Blizzard. So, he could double potion me. I can't remember if he had a potion in hand. He could double potion me and we'd be kind of screwed. Potion followed by another potion and we'd be kind of somewhat screwed. No, if he doesn't double potion me. Okay, fine. I got bailed out by my own Misty there. Oh wait, I forgot. Oh yeah, the healing from Lapras. Right, we're going to so what we're going to do here is we're actually going to Sabrina. We're going to chunk this Lapras down. Okay. Wait, was I going to win anyway? I can't remember how many points I had. Oh, I had 1 point. So opponent had 2 points. I had 1 point. I was going to take out that and then I'd have Giovanni'd and maybe got his Lapras down, but he just conceded. I don't actually know why he conceded from that position. I kill his weird fish thing that I can never remember the name of. He brings his Lapras back in. His Lapras is at 90 HP. Bubble beams me. I then have to... I actually think he would have won if he just... Actually, was the play for me to not Sabrina him? Let me think this through. I Sabrina him, takes Lapras down to... Yeah, the play was not for me to Sabrina him. I think I actually misplayed. Because if I just hit his Lapras goes down to 20. And next turn he can't kill me with Lapras. Wait a second. Yeah, no, I actually think I threw, but he conceded, and I don't know why. I actually think I like mega threw. I literally should have just hit him with. I threw but won. I have no idea how that works. Okay, we're going second. We got Misty this time round. We got double hand scope, which I think, having now played with hand scope quite a bit, is a severely underrated card. Right. Are we gonna win turn 1 or turn 2 because he's not putting another basic Pokemon down? Pokeball. He will put another basic Pokemon down. He kind of has to, because if I do have a Misty and I kill his Charmander, then I can almost basically just win the game. Moltres X comes out. Great. X speed. He's going to put Moltres in. And he's going to start building energy on his Charizard. I got 2 Misties. Plenty of chance for me to not fuck this up. Right, Misty number 1. Give me heads. It's a fucking tails. All right. Well, there's always next turn, guys. Okay, I'd love a tally. If anyone's watching this far in the video, I'd love to know how many Misties I have failed every single turn. He's now going to Inferno Dance, which is going to be usually way more effective at generating energy than Misty. Tails, heads. 2 energy for his Charmander, whatever the hell he's got now. Charmeleon. So I'm going to Misty again. I might as well concede. I honestly may as well concede. I need to have a look at what's in his hand. If he's got a Charizard, it's basically over. It is, frankly, quite over. Frankly, quite over. I may as well concede. I'm pretty keen on conceding. He's going to one-shot me with Charizard, and there is literally nothing that I can do about it. I'm actually going to just keep all of this. I'm going to keep all of this video. I'm not going to just cut to the wins. I'm going to keep this whole thing in, because I want you guys to see that I'm not really playing, apart from making that weird Sabrina play that I messed up, I'm not really playing any differently. I mean, like, now he's just going to X speed and I'm dead. So, like, I mean, there's nothing that I'm going to do. I have no other Pokemon to field. Both of my Misties failed. This is why I actually don't rate this deck as highly as other decks. The consistency just doesn't feel that. I'm keeping all of this footage in. I'll do one more game. I'm keeping all of this footage in, and ultimately you can say small sample size, right? You can say small sample size, but I've basically played, what, like 10 games, and I'd say like 60% of them, Misty has just flubbed me the entire game. I know that some people really love Articuno trainers. Totally get it. Going second definitely helps with this deck. It kind of reduces that reliance on Misty. But like, I have struggled to beat even shit decks. I've struggled to beat even shit decks. Right, I'm going to have a look at his hand, depending on what he's got. Professor's Research. Okay. That looks like a really, really good hand to red card. Haunter and Gengar X and a couple of red cards. Great. So I'm going to red card that. I'm now going to use my own Professor's Research. I've got another Professor's Research and a Sabrina. Great. That was a great red card hand to get rid of. He had his evolution pathway there already. He's also got a Dark Energy. He actually managed to pick up a Haunter as well. He's not placing the energy. Interesting. I am going to use Professor's Research here. There's another Articuno. I actually don't want to red card this just because I have no idea what's in his hand, and it's not like I'm getting value in terms of forcing him to shuffle extra cards back into his hand. I think, I mean, if he has Gengar X again, then I probably just lose. Not lose, but I won't be able to one-shot him. Fine, but he doesn't have anywhere near enough energy. His opponent conceded. Yeah, fine. Gengar sucks, by the way. Gengar's a crap deck. I'm going to try again. Again, a lot of these victories, I'm not really counting as victories, if I'm honest with you. Right. Right, last one. I've got a headache, so I need to get to bed. Okay, I'm going second, which is better for this deck, because you just... Better for any deck, realistically. Right, so we've got a Misty. Maybe I get an OP Misty. He's got a... So this is just a Mewtwo deck, right? Ugh, Pokeball, so he's going to draw either another Ralts or a Mewtwo. He's got a 2 in 3 chance of drawing a Mewtwo here. Well, now he's got a guaranteed chance of getting a Mewtwo, because I think he probably just drew another Ralts. So he plays the Mewtwo. No, he plays the Ralts, and then he plays the Mewtwo as well. Yeah, nice Mewtwo card, by the way. That's sick. I mean, I might as well look at what is in his hands. If he's got the Gardevoir pathway, then that's a bit rubbish. Obviously, so I'm going to use this Pokeball. It thins out the deck, brings out another Articuno. It means I don't natural draw into an Articuno. We should do there. Okay, so I'm going to have a hand scope. He has got Curlier and Gardevoir, so basically I'm going to have to hope that I get a really good Misty here. Good. Not so good. But it gets me 1 energy ahead of the game. Gets me 1 energy ahead of the game, which is not the worst thing in the world. So he's going to evolve Curlier on the back line. He's going to place an energy on Mewtwo. So he's going to get Ralts into Curlier on the back line. He's going to then evolve Mewtwo. The tough situation that he's going to be in after that is the turn after. He's only going to have 3 energy on Mewtwo, so he will not be able to immediately side drive my Articuno. Great. That's a nice card. That delays the game a little bit unless I get an X speed, but even then, not great. X speed would be helpful because it means I can kill the Ralts and I would be in the same position that I was in. So we've got 2 Professor's Researchers here. Won't be able to use a Misty this turn. Giovanni, red card. So it is a little bit annoying, but I'm actually going to have to start splitting my energy. There isn't really any point me not splitting my energy. I am just going to red card his Gardevoir back in his hand, though. I'm hoping he just doesn't draw another Gardevoir here. I know he has a Gardevoir. Just got to hope that I've gotten rid of his Gardevoir. There's a high chance that he has just drawn another Gardevoir here. In which case, sucks to be me. And he's got Professor's Research, so he could have drawn a Gardevoir. Yeah, I mean, there's a super strong chance that happened. I had to red card because I knew he had the Gardevoir. He's now going to X speed. He's going to have Mewtwo ready to go. So, don't know if he's got a potion somewhere. He's got another Curlier. He's going to Psy, Shadow, drop an energy on Mewtwo, take him to 3. So if I play 80, take him down to 70, he potions, like 1 potions, takes us to 90. Potentially I can then kill him, potentially. Psychic Sphere doesn't matter because he's only just going to side drive me next turn anyway. Red card. Well, I'm going to have to use Professor's Research again. Giovanni. X speed. I'm probably going to use... I can't use Giovanni this turn, can I? Well, look, he's going to one-shot me here. I actually can't win from this position. It's going to be... I needed a Misty, and I needed to not flub a Misty. Like, I needed to potentially get another Misty out. That's actually... I'm actually happier with that, I think. X speed, Misty, X speed. I mean, I've lost Giovanni's, which was maybe a way of winning. There isn't really anything that I can do at this point, though. Since he's now got the Mewtwo and he's going to be able to side drive me both turns. He's going to have Potion. No reason not to. Not that I'm going to be able to do 100. Not that I'm going to be able to do that much damage anyway. I haven't played against a Pikachu deck or a Starmie deck. I know this deck's supposed to be good against Starmie. Yeah, I mean, there is nothing. I mean, I use Blizzard and I die next turn, so there isn't much I can do. Look, here's my post playing this deck 10 times in a row thoughts. Ultimately, I don't think I misplayed that much. I don't actually think you can misplay that much with this deck. I think ultimately and I'm even more convicted in my beliefs that this deck is a Misty deck, in the sense that if you high roll Misty on turn 1, you basically win the game straight away. If you don't, your deck sucks. Admittedly, I think I need to be balanced here. Here's my balance. Just as I had bad luck, you can just get as much good luck, and you can also get somewhere in the middle. I definitely had 10 games of relatively bad luck on Misty. I also need people to realize that even tournament results don't always mean everything. Tournament results can be skewed towards just getting good Misty rolls. Like if you play 8 tournament matches, you could easily have 6 or 7 of those with the Articuno deck, where you just get a good Misty roll and win the game. I don't think tournament results are like the be all and end all of the meta, especially when it comes to RNG reliant decks. Like, and I think hopefully what you take away from this is that this deck is quite RNG reliant, and there are probably a few lines that I could have improved. But frankly, like a lot of the time, I just rolled tails immediately on Misty, and I had nothing to do for like 3 turns. And that's one of the major problems with this deck, in my opinion. But there we go. That's my honest take. Was I wrong? No, I don't think so. I don't think this deck deserves to be A tier. I think this deck is a solid B, maybe C tier deck. I don't think it deserves to be A tier though. That is my genuine hot take.